Okay, we're live.
Okay.
Did it work?
Yep.
Oh, yay. Okay. Okay. And so you should be looking at Google Hangouts right now.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So we're just going to wait. I'm going to say something on the stream that uses. We have 3 viewers. I just don't know who they are.
Well, Mr. Winky has one of them.
Of course, Mr. Winky Head. Hey, Anthony, how you doing? I was waiting on you, darling. I was. You know I always am, because you have the best questions. Hey, Brian, how you doing? I'm going to pop up. We got QuadFarm here, so I'm going to pop Rob up here so you can see him. And if you look closely, you may see a goat running around in his living room area, which I've been seeing has been very nice. So we have 4 viewers right now, so we'll go ahead and wait for them to be brave and pop in. Hey, Brian, that was a really good video you did on the Spark, by the way. Hey, Sin, how you doing? Mr. Winky. Doesn't that always make you smile when you say Mr. Winky Head? Hey, guy. I think that's how you say it. So I want to make sure hey, Kelly. I know, right? He has a really nice beard. Hey, Kelly, how you doing, darling? I'm waving to you, but you cannot see me. Hold on. There we go. Hey, Kelly. Oh my gosh. He almost ejected. I have to be careful what I touch here. Hey, Crystal, how you doing? Hey, sis. Okay, we got Rob here, and he's ready for his interview. And like I told the others, after they came in his living room, every once in a while, you may see a little baby goat. And it's darling. It's absolutely darling. Okay. So I was telling Rob that I've gone through all his videos, and I've looked at all of them. And that's one of my favorite parts of doing interviews, Rob, is having a chance to go through all the videos and trying to determine then what kind of questions I'm going to ask, right?
It sounds like you did your homework.
Yeah, it just kind of lets me know about what I'm thinking. Is Night Shame in here? Hey, Night Shame, enjoyed your live feed the other day. So let me ask you a couple questions. Where exactly were you raised? I know you're in Wyoming now.
Mm-hmm.
So where were you raised? Was it Wyoming?
Yeah, I was born and raised right here in Saratoga, Wyoming.
Wow.
Yeah, lived here till I was 18 17 before I moved to Alaska.
And you went to Alaska because?
I had my father lived up there, and I went up there and finished high school, and went into the military from there.
So what branch of the service did you serve in?
Navy.
Navy. Okay.
Yep.
My patron was in the Navy. He's my favorite uncle of all time. And he came out of New Jersey, so you can just imagine. So you went into the Navy. How long did you stay in the Navy?
2 years. 2 years.
Wow.
And I got out. Clinton was in office at the time, and they were downsizing. So I took it right out. I'd had enough.
I bet. Were you on a ship?
Yep, I was on the USS Anzio.
Okay.
Out of Norfolk, Virginia.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you spent some time on the East Coast?
Yeah.
Yep. What did you think of it?
You know, what's me most and still hangs with me is just the pure history there. All of the history, all up and down the East Coast was pretty much had me in awe.
Nice, nice. Night Shame, I am okay. If you see, I'll just say this above all because I have a lot of burning questions in my head for Rob. But if you guys go to someone's channel and you like it, please support them. You know, and if they want to support you, they will too. I am totally cool with that. Okay, do you see that? Do you see that little tail right there and the little leg? Crystal, do you see that?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, baby goats are so sweet. Hi, Miss Rob.
It's Naomi.
Hey, Naomi. Oh my gosh. Yes, I watched her when she helped with the birth of those little goats. What a woman. What a woman. Look at that. Look at that beautiful face. Oh my God, that is gorgeous.
She was born Sunday night.
Look how big she is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, look at that. Oh, she goes, give me that nose. That looks like something that would be good for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't realize, everyone, that we were going to have total cuteness on this show. Usually our cuteness comes from Roxy or Snuggles, but we got this little baby, and you're calling the baby, did I miss that?
We haven't named her yet.
No?
No.
Well, I think little Valerie is doing really well. Oh, no, never mind. You can call it she. Oh my God, look at that little face. That is gorgeous, Rob. Oh my gosh. That little baby is gorgeous. Oh my gosh. So cute. So cute. So you went into the Navy. What did you get out of that whole experience?
Wow, that's a big question. That's where my electronics background comes from. First of all, I was an interior communications electrician. Worked on all kinds of interior alarm systems, any kind of communication device within the ship. I learned that the military, if you get on the wrong side of it, you'll be messed up your whole career. I traded billets when I was leaving A school, and I got sent to a ship. I spent a year in training, and then I got sent to a ship that didn't even have my equipment on it. It was a complete, and I've heard of other guys having the same issue where they just like got the wrong billet. They got sent somewhere they weren't supposed to, where their skill set didn't match. And sure enough, it happened to me. I was on the Anzio, and it was a Aegis cruiser, which means it had the Wisdom 5 kind of weapon system on it, which put me in a whole different. I was in combat systems instead of engineering. Basically, I was just a floater, and so I got sent wherever they needed anybody. Never really got to work on any electronics or anything. So yeah, I learned about how the military can and does mess up frequently, and that's ultimately why I took an out when I was offered, because they pretty much told me, well, we need your rack space for the guy that's supposed to be here. It's a small ship, but I took it, and one of the things that bothered me about it was I learned that I was all stars and stripes before that, right? I took the oath seriously. I was a very, very big patriot. And I went in, and we were kind of a rich guy's play toy. I had the most senior captain on the Eastern Seaboard, and he got away with a lot of stuff, and he took full advantage of it. And it just didn't really mesh with me. It didn't, my patriotism and the duty that I was actually doing didn't mesh. I could go into it, but wasted time, wasted money. I mean, just ridiculous the amount of money that the Navy can spend just cruising around visiting the captain's summer homes, in Maine. So
I gotta say, I lived on the East Coast in Maryland, and we went to Annapolis a lot, and also Norfolk. And you know, all the history, like you said, is all there, and you see how what our country is actually, the rocks in which it's built upon. And then you get into some of the hankiness, I don't know a better word of it, of some of the people who are meant to lead us. And it can get discouraging. I believe it really can. And we just got to keep focusing on those things, I think, that that help us to continue to be part of this country. It can be difficult at times, depending on where you're looking and what you're seeing. And certainly our military has had its troubles.
Yeah.
I was saying that from being out there, they've had their problems.
Yeah. Well, one thing you learn really fast is the government usually messes everything up.
I worked for the government for quite a number of years, and I will say that if you are out there to change something or to make something work better, it's not always a pleasant place.
No, and that's even the ladies at the post office feels, anybody that works government understands that they're bound by rules, and sometimes they don't make sense. You don't know what the heck's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the thing. You are absolutely bound by rules. And it's like, you know, I think of Crystal. She works at night. Sometimes she works during the day all the time, but she works for a private company. If she went into government and went with that can-do attitude, that is not always appreciated at all.
Right.
And it's funny because my mom worked for the government too, and sometimes they don't like change. Change is very hard.
Yeah.
It is. Okay, so let me ask you. So, what were the lessons of your youth that you still hold on to?
Now that's a tough one. Yeah, I don't know. I was pretty wild. I learned everything hard. I never learned anything easy. It's, you know, the cheesy cliche saying, "Stay true." That's been taught to me over and over again. I've never done well when I was deceptive or otherwise tried to portray myself as something I wasn't. Yeah, I don't know. That's really a tough one, because it really, the lessons of my youth really didn't hit home until I got older, and then they start to fall into place and make sense. So it's hard to pinpoint where I learned. I've been all over. I've lived in cities and everything, and I'm back here where I grew up, because you know it may not be the best community in the world, but this is my community. You know, these people I've known my whole life, and I know if you're stuck up in the mountains somewhere and one of them drives by, they're going to help you. You know, and vice versa. That's probably the biggest thing I learned from this place.
Right. I worked in the mountains for quite a number of years. When I was working actually for the government, I was up in the mountains around Boise, and I have to say, kinder people you're not going to meet. They're just so very kind and hard-headed. I'm just saying. Let's just say.
Yeah.
But I love them all, and they know it. I do. So let's talk about some of your videos. So you are a farmer, and you are, oh, hold on. Oh, you taking him out? Bye, goat.
Yeah.
Bye, little Val. I'm just saying. We're going to see if it sticks. I don't know. So I was looking at your videos, and the first one you did was your dog herding sheep. So what is the name of your doggie?
That's Lacey. Lacey. I named her after a character in the movie All the Pretty Horses, Lacey Rawlins.
Nice. She's a very good dog. Was it hard to train Lacey to do the herding, or was it just natural instinct?
Most of it's instinct. The biggest thing I had to do was not mess her up.
All right. Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes, because I had a border collie, and I had a collie, and they would go round up the children for me. And I didn't teach him to do that, scout, but he'd just head out and he'd nip at their heels. If they didn't come in, well, I call him, he'd race out and he'd just herd them right in the house.
That's
And they
funny.
get so mad, and I loved it. So let me ask you, then you've done some aerial footage. I watched those, and really quickly you got into FPV. Why did you get into that so fast? I mean, hardly any videos, and you were just there. Was it? And was it? It was with the Phantom 4, yes?
Yeah, Phantom 4 Pro. Yep. I just got bored really quick. The Phantom 4 is a really neat drone, and it still is. I still fly it, but it wasn't exactly what I had in mind. The Phantom 4 was my first drone ever, my first RC anything. Just got bored. I was looking for a stress relief because I'm a farmer and I'm here every day. I haven't had a vacation. I haven't even got to go fishing in like 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah, let alone a vacation or anything. So I wanted something that I could step out my door and do it really quick, and then carry on with my business. Yeah, it had to do with boredom, because within probably 2.5 months, I had everything within a 2 mile, 3 mile radius of me photographed from every angle. Hundreds of pictures and tons of videos. I was actually doing all those videos in the beginning on my phone. I didn't even have a computer. I'd been like maybe 5 years without a computer before that.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, I am slowly just writing in when I can think of it, but it's really hard for me because I don't multitask as well as other people. So sorry. Let me just say hi to a few people: Gregory, Ray, Mo, of course, Crystal's in here, and Anthony. Miss RC, thank you so much for coming in. Ray, you're such a sweetie. Anyway, let me. So it's because you got bored. Upon seeing your videos, you're really good at FPV.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're really good at it. I watch a lot of people's FPV videos. I think maybe one day, but actually watching them sometimes makes me a little dizzy, and I'm wondering if I put that thing in, if I'm just not gonna fall over. Is it? Does it ever make you dizzy? I mean, I know these are stupid questions. I'm so sorry.
No, it's not a stupid question. It's actually an ironic question, because I just showed somebody my videos last night and it made them sick. Yeah, my mother-in-law couldn't watch them. I have an uncle that couldn't watch them. So it happens pretty frequently, yeah. And myself, I have no problem with it. I don't know. I feel like I'm riding it, so it doesn't really make me too dizzy.
Yeah, do you like what's it called? Hey Ed, thank you. Do you like roller coasters and things like that?
Oh, not as much as I used to. I used to like them. I used to rock climb and bungee jump and all that kind of stuff.
Oh.
I think when my center of gravity changed, like all that went away, and I didn't like falling or being high anymore.
Right. I'm just saying, the minute you said bungee, I thought that's what I was thinking of, because when I watch the FPV videos that all of y'all do, and yours are really quick, and you are just marvelous at it, but it's like I'm right there on that drone.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden I'm all over the place. It can be quite daunting. At times I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, it definitely has a pucker factor. I get a nice rush out of it, especially at a new place. Yeah.
Yes. So what the last video you did, it was really, really nice. And the color was so sharp. Was that because of the Phantom 4, or did you color it when you were?
I'm not sure what video you're talking about. If I was doing aerobatics and stuff, it was an FPV frame.
I think it was your Phantom 4, and you were going along the river at parts.
Okay.
And the blue sky was so totally incredibly blue, and the river was so gorgeous. And I was just wondering if you did any color variant in there or grading.
I do. I kind of set my camera to have more of a flat tone, and then I do post editing, of course. Yeah, maybe bump the contrast up a little, saturation just a touch, and the least I have to do, the better, of course. But yeah, I do post editing for sure.
I was wondering because I will say that those colors were so vibrant, and I thought, I'm moving to Wyoming if it's looking like that all the time. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I was just thinking that takes some skill to go in and do all that type of editing. I really haven't got into changing of colors or white balance or anything like that, even on my camera yet. But it takes a lot of skill. You're very skillful.
Well, thank you. I just actually, when I never paid any attention to the photography or anything until I got the Phantom 4. So that's what the Phantom 4 taught me, was photography, my ISO settings and stuff like that, aperture.
So talk to me a little bit about your farm and what it means to be. I'm a city girl. I'm just going to put it out there, guys. Don't roll over. But I am a city girl, and oh, look at that! What is that? That is cool. You made that?
Yeah, this one I did build.
Nice.
Reverb with Kiss. Unify, or wait, let's see. I'm drawing blanks all of a sudden. Yeah, there's TBS, Kiss in there, and Free FR Sky. That's what it is. So, sorry.
Okay, so that you brought that up, I'm going to go there. So everyone talks about going to some dark side. What does that mean? That's the dark side?
This is the dark side.
And why?
Acro.
Acro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like there's no settings in it to keep it level or anything. You do everything. You can roll 360 degrees. And then the FPV is part of the dark side as well. See the camera there?
Right.
So you can, that's what transmits to your goggles. And then you put a GoPro here. That most of the videos in my videos from the GoPro, I use a Heroes or Session 5, whatever, the one they just discontinued.
Okay. Yeah, I have the GoPro 5, but not the Session. But that would be perfect for the sessions.
Yep.
Very nice.
Yep.
So how many drones do you have?
Well, I have the Phantom 4 Pro, of course. That was my first. And then I bought a pre-built RR5 from Rotor Riot as my first quad. And then I got this Reverb that I built, and that's all I have. I have 2 FPV drones and 1 camera drone.
So, and I'm not saying this snarky, I'm just saying this as an observation. You kind of tend to me to seem to go from 0 to 180 with
That's
not a
fair.
whole lot in between. Is that correct?
That's fair. That's pretty observative of you. So, yeah. Yeah.
And you seem to do well within that space on those edges.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I did farming and everything. I crash coursed it, lived it, and breathed it, and learned it, and yeah, now I can safely say I'm a farmer and an FPV pilot. pilot.
Wow. So what made you decide, hey everyone, oh, they can't see me waving. Know that I'm reading the chat as we're going. It's hard to do all these things at one time. Okay, so let me ask you, what made you, before we get to farm, what made you go and build a drone?
It was cheaper that way. I'd always planned on building one. The only reason I bought a pre-built was because I wanted to have a good baseline on what I should be shooting for. There's no way I was not going to build one, just the way the hobby's set up. And I knew that. Another reason I bought a pre-built is because I was ordering all of my soldering iron, my battery charger, and everything at the same time. And I wanted to be flying before I built my first one, so that I knew more about what to build, what I wanted.
Wow.
And building is a lot of the fun of this hobby. You know, sometimes I start jonesing because I'm not building or repairing. You know.
Right. So Ed wants to know what goggles you're using, and he wants to see them.
These from the Fat Shark HD3s. Sure. Here.
Oh wow, those look fancy. Those are the spendy ones, aren't they?
At the time, they were the most expensive model of Fat Shark. There's the HDOs are out now, so these should be a little cheaper. I haven't looked, but yeah, they were $4.99, something like that. $4.50, something in there between $4.50 and $5.
Well, I'll just say, considering that you don't buy a lot of drones, you only have 3. I think that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I just started, in January, so.
Oh, yeah. So there's going to be more coming.
Oh, yes.
There's going to be more coming. Okay. What's the hardest part of building a quad? And that question is coming from Ray.
Well, the biggest pain in the ass is mounting the VTX, if you ask me. But in general, the hardest part, these motor wires right here. I don't know if you can see very well.
Okay.
There's 5 there and 3 on the other end of this little ESC. That is tedious. And doing that, you do all 4 of them at once. That's pretty tedious.
Wow.
But after you finish that, everything pretty much goes together pretty fast. It's the little stuff like mounting the receivers.
Mm-hmm.
The receivers and the video transmitters, that kind of stuff is, I think, harder than the soldering and stuff like that.
Right, Ed. He did jump in with 2 feet. That's what I was saying. Yes. He goes from 0 to 180 and he's just flying. And that's, takes a lot of guts to do it, because if you miss the mark, it's just more painful.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, I've soared with eagles, and boy, that fall hurt.
My wife actually just built her quad. She built her own quad, and I hadn't had any issues, but she had never soldered before or anything, but she did a really good job. But she had issues with her quad, and it was because of cold joints and stuff like that.
So what is cold joints? Because I heard you say that on the stream. Cold joints. What is that?
Yeah. When you're soldering, you need to heat both surfaces.
Okay. Yeah.
So that the metal sinks into both surfaces. If you don't, the 2 metals don't bind well, and it could either come undone or you don't get a good connection. And it actually led to a lot of issues with my wife's quad. She had a hard time in the beginning because her bird just didn't fly right. Her ESCs were resetting and she was always ticking and she couldn't get over 50% throttle.
Wow.
She struggled with that for a long time, and I finally took it apart and redid some of the soldering for her. And now it's like a new quad. She loved it so much she got it stuck on top of a tree for 3 days here recently. So
I heard that, and I heard all the wonderful ideas that the guys had for you getting it down, including cut the tree, down. What else did they say? Shoot arrows up at it. I don't remember who was saying that one. Kim was just talking about climbing trees, so that was new and exciting. So how did you get it down? I mean, I know how you did, but for everyone, how did you get it down?
Just a rock tied on the end of some rope clothesline, and about 50 tries a day for 3 days.
Wow.
I'm still sore from throwing that damn rock.
I guess, but you got it.
Yeah.
Was it hurt from doing that?
No, you know what? She didn't even bend a prop. The only thing that was bad was the battery because it stayed plugged in the whole time and we lost the battery.
Okay. Yeah. That's still not bad. So I see your little goat running back and forth. So anybody who just came in the stream, know there's a little goat back there that might be laying down now. I can't tell, but he is the cutest. We call the goat Little Val.
Little Val.
No, he'll probably have another name soon, but it's starting with my name. Look at that. Oh, that is just adorable. Oh.
The reason she's in my house is because she was born single. And she's smaller than the other kids, so we can't really put her in with the other kids yet. And a goat is a herd animal, so they need to be around somebody, preferably another goat, but in this case it happens to be me and my wife. So she'll be in here for another couple days before we can move her out with the other kids.
Oh my God, she is just adorable. Just adorable. Under the chair. She might be eating it, but that's okay, right? I don't know that she's just having a nibble. She gets hungry, like Big Val. So let me talk to you about farming. What made you decide to go into, because you do, more engineer type stuff, and now you're farming. So what made you do that?
Health. The simple answer was just a string of bad health that my lifestyle started to catch up with me. And it kind of started as like I maybe had some prepping intentions behind it. It made more sense to me to learn to produce things than to stockpile things that would eventually run out. But I'm not actually a prepper. But then the health issues started stacking up, and I kind of started to learn things. I was at the perfect place in my life to learn that. And it turns out food is, very important in your health. And there were a few lucky things that happened. At one point, when I made the decision to get goats and chickens, we lived actually just like 3 blocks that way. But we were in a residential area and we couldn't have them, but I was going to get them anyway and just go ahead and try and fight the town and get ordinance changed or whatever I had to do. And 2 days after I decided that, literally 2 days, the previous owner of these pastures willed us those pastures while she was still alive. She tried to give them away to like 3 different people, including the town, and nobody else wanted it. It's a wetlands with grandfather rights on it for animals. So literally 2 days after making the decision, we got the pastures. So that kind of helped us along.
Wow.
Really mostly health issues though, and learning about how bad our food is today.
Right. Right. And that was remarkable because it kind of said that you might be on the right path because things just started falling into place. And I find in life that kind of happens a lot, doesn't it? When you're in the right space and the right mind, then things that are supposed to happen, tendency can happen.
Exactly. I call it Forrest Gumping.
Yes. Yes, because he fell into everything really good. That's the truth. So let me go on to my okay. So how did you come about deciding to work within something called like, well, let me ask you this. This is probably a better question. So I know you do some work with the microbiome, right? Tell me what that is. I've watched shows on it. I've read stuff on it, but I need you tell me.
There's the definition of the term microbiome, and it was coined by um, I believe Professor Rob Knight coined the term, and it is the genetic sum of all the bacteria that live symbiotically with us in and outside of our body. He coined that term because the science that took off recently was this group of scientists that started genetically sequencing all of the bacteria within our guts. And beyond that, the microbiome is it's obviously the accumulated population of microflora that is symbiotic with us. It basically it regulates more bodily functions than our actual brain does. The bacteria in our body outnumber human cells 10 to 1. There's 100 trillion roughly bacteria that live within our gut, in our lower intestines. It's like 3 pounds. If you can picture 3 pounds of microscopic critters, that's what your microbiome is in your gut. It's so amazing. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I might think about that, Rob. That kind of scares me.
Uh-huh.
Because we're always trying to get rid of bugs. And then we have all these parasites. Well, basically, maybe they're not called that for this purpose, but in our stomach. My understanding is if that gets catawonky, then all kinds of things happen.
It can affect every system in your body, and the thing is, you don't really know. It's called a dysbiosis, and what our goal is, like you're gonna have that many bacteria in your body, whether they're diverse or not. I mean, if you have, this is oversimplification, of course, but if you got 3 strains of bacteria, you're still gonna have 100 trillion of them in there. So what we really go for is diversity in the population, and it's like if you think of it like a football team, and you had all quarterbacks on your football team, you're probably just going to get trounced, right? I mean,
right.
That's kind of the same with a microbiome. You want nice, diverse populations that can cover all jobs. Some species are better at something than other species, and just the fact that you have that many bugs in you and not have a complete revolt with your immune system, just kind of, I mean, that alone should let you know how symbiotic we are with them. Here's an interesting fact that I learned that I've probably heard 100 times before and realized it because I've ate vegetables before, but no mammal on this planet digests cellulose. We don't digest plant matter. We don't do it. We're monogastropods. Even these goats out here who are ruminants rely on bacteria to break down plant matter for us.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah. So as that plant matter passes through our stomach acids and gets into our lower intestine, we can't use it. We're really feeding our microflora, and the fiber actually gives them a place to colonize. And in the process, in return for doing that, they synthesize nutrients that we can use. Um, we really can't use, and they do things like balance calcium and magnesium. You have to have those things in proportion. And like a lot of the vitamins you take with pills are nutrients that we can't use. They just pass right through us because they haven't been processed by that bacteria.
Right. Right. I tell you, vitamins, all that stuff, if I take them, they don't do, I just have problems with them. So the microbiome also, if you have a lot of autoimmune type stuff, that
Mhm.
can be caused because the microbiome is get tilted wrong.
Right. More than likely is caused by, all autoimmune all autoimmune issues, gastrointestinal issues, even some brain issues. Like there's a very nice gut brain link. Um, here's something that's really neat to think about. A bacteria in your gut can basically plug directly into your nervous system and talk directly to parts of your brain that we don't access consciously. And they do this through a chemical language. And if you think of your vagus nerve, which the majority of your nervous system is in your gut, and so they have like this central communication line set up with your brain. Um, I think I might have got off track here.
That's okay.
Um, what was the point there?
Okay, so basically, I was asking if the autoimmune, because my family is riddled with autoimmune disease, you
Right.
know, diabetes, blood pressure, Hashimoto's, the whole, chronic fatigue, all the kind of stuff that comes from just being off, right? Just having
Right.
not right. And that's why when I heard that you did a lot of stuff with microbiome, I just thought, I got to interview you. I got to talk to you because I've done a lot of reading on it, but I don't know how to do it. It's so much. It is so much to try to wrap my head around. It's a huge, huge topic. So I think that's where we were going. How do you turn around and do something like that when you're like me? You're a city girl, or you're a city guy, or you don't have a lot of time, and you want to get that microbiome correct.
Okay. That's actually a very good point because I'm that way. I could understand microbiome science because it clicked with me. But I have to simplify things myself. You could get lost in the science. That's when I start talking about it, I can go off on so many tangents, and it's hard to stay focused. But really, it is the simplest thing on the planet. All life has evolved to be symbiotic with bacteria. That is the way life was built. So really, all you have to do is stay in line with that. We were meant to eat clean food. Um, if I'm a just for example, the most diverse microbiome on the planet right now is a hunter-gatherer group called the Hadza, and that's where the Gut Project does a lot of their field work because of their diversity, and they live into their 80s, relatively disease-free. They don't have the diseases that we have here. But my example is if you're a hunter-gatherer walking through the trees and you pick an apple off the tree and you eat the apple, that is microbiome management. That is as simple as it gets, because not only do you have the correct bacteria on that apple that specialize in breaking down that apple. There's different plants have different microbiomes and everything, but also it's the prebiotics match the probiotics. And you can make that as complicated as you want, but it really comes down to eating that clean apple that doesn't have pesticides or fungicides or mosquito spray, or you're eating intact microbiome from your food. Uh, so it's really it's almost one of those instances where we have to get complex to explain the simple. I mean, you know how science is; they have to be complex, but it's just as simple as that: eating clean food. The two ways that we assimilate bacteria is the primary way is through food. The secondary way is through asymmetrical transfer, which is basically touching. Um, I was going to point that out when I was holding the goat in my lap. I'm getting asymmetrical transfer with that goat. So she's sharing bacteria with me, I'm sharing bacteria with her. We actually assimilate species and strains into our body from physical contact.
Wow. 'Cause I'm touching my dogs all the time. I'm a little frightened by what they
You shouldn't be. That's actually and there's a course on the microbiome that I'll probably have to put a link in the description or something. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
But there's a free course, and that's actually an example they use of pet owners, and people who handle their pets have more diverse microbiomes than people who don't.
Yeah, because my pets jump up in my bed. I wake up, I have my arms around. Yeah, it's just, and I was reading that with Mo too. I know yeah.
Yeah.
So when we talk about food, like, okay, so I'm diabetic and I have all this other stuff going. So me grabbing an apple isn't always good for me because the sugars are high. Is any of that taken into account when we're thinking about microbiome, or should we just start eating clean and let our guts handle it? Does that make sense?
Yeah. And that's pretty much what I did. And the thing is if you're looking for science to answer that, we don't know exactly what you can heal. There are cases of diabetes being reversed. I'm not sure what types. I haven't read into diabetes specifically, but diabetes, multiple sclerosis. Um, there's a really famous doctor who cured herself of multiple sclerosis via diet. Um, and that's something I would be hesitant to give any advice on. Is like I definitely wouldn't tell you to go out and start eating apples. Um,
Oh, yeah, and please, everyone, as we talk, know this is we're bringing a subject to you, but please read up on whatever is said here. Don't just go off and do stuff
yeah,
without reading about it and getting your own information about it,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Improving your diet will never be bad advice, though. Yeah, it's yeah, definitely not medical advice here, but personal experience. Just for myself, like it's a little personal, but I don't mind sharing it. I've cured asthma. I've cured all of my allergies. Um, Silly things like nail fungus. I lost 40 pounds almost immediately.
Wow.
And just on the inverse side, like when we run out of raw milk, my allergies come back. So I kind of know that what's working and what's not for me.
So raw milk, we used to have that a lot, and then they came out and they said raw milk was not good for us. There
Yep.
was something going on with raw milk that we had to pasteurize it, we had to do stuff to it. And now I've been hearing a lot about raw milk being good for us. So can you explain the controversy there?
Well, sure. It can be dangerous. You do kind of have to keep it clean. You just can't trust that nothing's going to get in your raw milk. But the thing is, we probably did have some epidemics back when we started pasteurizing, but I would almost guarantee you that the motivation behind pasteurization is longevity on the shelf,
Well,
or
sure.
at least the theory. But now, you know, we're starting to realize that there's this thing called competitive exclusion, and I don't know if anybody knows this. I mean, first of all, you have to have this picture in your head. There's a miles thick layer around the entire planet of bacteria. We literally swim in bacteria. It's in our it's way up in the atmosphere and everything. We all walk around with a cloud of bacteria around us. Um, Now, assuming if you take a healthy sample of a microbiome for an area, like just say right out here in the yard, you just okay, and you start analyzing all the bacteria in there. Um, there's competition going on, and if your environment's healthy, your symbiotic bacteria will outcompete your pathogenic bacteria. Now, if you go out there and you drop bleach or something and you wipe out all the bacteria, and then it's a matter of what gets there first. And it's kind of the difference between raw milk and pasteurized. Um, Pasteurized milk, sure, it's clean. You've killed all the bacteria in it. But then if it comes into contact with salmonella, then the salmonella is going to thrive because the food's still there. The bacterial food is still there. Whereas with whole milk, uh, raw milk, you have that competition already won by your beneficial bacteria if your animal's healthy. Um, and the thing I like to try and explain is every layer is a microcosm of the layer below it. Us as humans are part of the Earth's microbiome. So as you get smaller, and as you get smaller, you know, your microbiome just gets smaller. We have bacteria as a microbiome, and you know, see, I got off sidetrack again.
That's okay. This
Yeah,
is, one thing I know, Rob, it's this subject is so
yeah,
huge, and we have a lot of people just in here, and they have more of an understanding than I think I do, because I was always told you don't drink raw milk. It's
yeah.
gonna hurt you. But like, let's say, okay, let's just talk about, going out and getting some raw milk. And so I go to Whole Foods and I say, "Oh, look, there's raw milk." How do I know that it's okay for me? That's the good raw milk.
Um,
Does that make sense? Am I saying
yeah,
that right?
it does. It would be really hard if you were just picking something up off the store shelf. I recommend if you're going to drink raw milk that you know the pasture, you know the farmer that it comes from. Um, you know, I would even go as far if I'm drinking raw milk from an animal, I want to see the animal, right? You know, I want
Right.
to make sure that it's not a factory farm. They're not getting a lot of antibiotics, that they're healthy. That you know, because food matters for them too. They can't produce good milk without unless they're getting fed right. So
Right.
that is a
I'm
tough one.
gonna tell you something. I was driving to Las Vegas and we passed a cattle car. And this one cow, which I think they were going to a bad place, but this one cow stuck its little head out and had its tongue out. It was just enjoying the moment. And I tell you, I looked up and I thought, oh, look at that little. So, and then I realized where he might be going, and I was just so sad. I thought, I do not want to go vegan again. I don't want to go. I was vegan for like 5 years, but oh my gosh, they have such personalities, and I think you do know if something's better or something isn't. But what if you're me? I live in a city. I
Mhm.
don't know any farmers. I know you. I'll have to come to Wyoming and get my milk. But how how do I know? How can I find good
Well,
raw milk?
I guarantee you there's farmers around you. You probably just haven't ever looked for them. Does your state have farmers markets?
Yes,
Um,
they do.
that you start hitting the farmers market and talking to them. If they're like us, we don't mind at all uh, giving a tour of our farm. If somebody wants to become a customer, we have no problem at all showing. We'll even let them sit through milking and everything to see how we handle the milk. Um, but definitely look for farmers markets. They're out there, and it's actually better to support the small farmer. Um, I think, well, yeah, I think because I guess what we're all against here is factory food, um, produced by a big corporation uh, with lots of chemicals in it. It's really beneficial to try and get to the source for
You
sure.
know, Rob, I understand how it happened. We have all these people we want to feed. We want everything to be clean. So we do what people do. You want your sink to be clean, throw some bleach on it, or use something, and then it's clean and you know it, and you don't have to worry. It seems like through that thing that we do to try to help, we've made things really bad.
It,
That's what's
that's
happened.
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. We really live. Well, the picture I tried to put in your mind earlier of the Earth completely covered in a miles thick layer of bacteria. Um, I mean, you have to realize that we're breathing oxygen that was literally farted out by cyanobacteria hundreds of millions of years ago, um, that turned the atmosphere into an oxygen-rich atmosphere. And my point being, how can we fight that with hand sanitizer? I mean, we're really going about that the wrong way. Um, we're not going to win that war. I don't know. Some of you may have heard of this, but there's a nun somewhere that makes this group of nuns makes cheese, and it's a specific kind of cheese. And they used a wooden vat, and they got away with it for years. And finally, the health inspector came in and told them, "You can't use that. You have to go to stainless steel." So they did, and they went to stainless steel, and immediately, I think it was listeria showed up. And the whole time the health inspector was there witnessing this, and the nun, it was actually a microbiologist. So um, it's a really neat story. But anyway, they started using stainless steel and doing everything up to health code and everything, and then they suddenly got listeria, and they'd get rid of it, it'd come back, and they went through this back and forth, and then finally, um, for whatever, I'm not sure how they got, but they went back to the wooden tub, and they stopped having those issues. Um, you know,
Yeah,
we,
I've always heard that wood kind of has its own antibacterial, the bad stuff. It just kind of gets rid of somehow on its own. I don't understand it. That's what I've heard.
I think it's competitive exclusion, like I was saying. If you allow your environment to be healthy, um, your pathogens are going to be outcompeted. That concept alone is so important. Like if I go pick up just a handful of dirt out here in my yard, and we sample that, we do what the Gut Project does with we genetically sequence all the bacteria. You're going to find those pathogens. You're going to find salmonella. You're going to find listeria,
Right.
see, and but it's going to be in small amounts, and they're not going to thrive. But when you throw something antibacterial on there, and you just indiscriminately wipe out bacteria, then you're actually giving that listeria and salmonella a foothold. And that's kind of what we've done is we've messed up our natural microbiome, and that's basically like we've been talking, that's a dysbiosis, and things aren't working right, so the system isn't really good at fighting pathogens. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. So let's say, okay, so take me through your day of keeping your microbiome on track. What's your day look like? What do you eat? What do you do?
um we really try. When I get up in the morning, we eat eggs that we produce here. I have eggs every morning. um Generally bread that we make ourselves. I use sourdough because a monoculture of yeast in the commercial bread is actually an issue as well. And that's really it. We make I'll put some goat cheese and some goat butter on there that we make here. Um, it's not that diverse, but I do live in Wyoming, so we we don't get to produce that diverse of a diet. So
Right.
it's eggs every morning, eggs and toast. And then for lunch, and for lunch we nibble on like maybe some cheese and fruit and maybe some meat if we have some like dried meat or something. Um, and then dinner, one theory that we go by is you can eat anything you want as long as you fix it yourself. If you want to
Okay.
eat a pie, make the pie yourself, and then we basically go for the fewer ingredients. And amazingly enough, after a while of doing this, you actually start to crave that, and your microbiome actually controls your cravings. Like if you're a heavy sugar user, heavy refined carbohydrates eater, then that's what you're going to crave because that's the microbiome you've built. So when you get a craving for sugar or a pastry or something, it's really your bacteria talking in your gut.
Wow. Because
Um,
I'm diabetic. I love sugar. I love donuts. I love I have this list that I can do without. Like for 4 months I was doing keto, really good, stayed very strict. And then I had a something that was sort of sweet and it kicked me off for a month where I was just going, it was almost like I was shaking to have more carbohydrate. And now I'm back on keto, is starting to calm down. The yeast syndrome.
this
Okay,
book,
hold on. Yeah.
it was written in 1985. Um, Probably nobody realizes this, but the papers that Edward Norton was reading from in Fight Club, I am Jack's medulla oblongata, that's from this book. And it talks about Candida albicans. And Candida albicans dominates America's microbiome. Um, Candida albicans thrives on processed carbohydrates and sugars. So if that's what you eat most of, this is what's in your gut. And this stuff is very aggressive. If you starve it out, it gets worse. When you quit sugar and you get a headache, that's
Right.
yeast throwing a fit.
I just wrote down that book. That's why I was not paying attention. I just
Yeah,
wanted to make sure.
99 cents from Amazon. You can get that book for.
Okay, that's what I'll be doing.
I,
Because,
I,
go ahead.
I'll recommend though. The book is very dry. I mean, this is the driest stuff you're ever going to read in your life. But there's a diet in here, the Candida diet, the Candida cleansing diet, I think it's called, and it gives you good food sources. That's the most
Okay.
value you've got, other than it'll tell you about Candida.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I'm finding when I read the plant protocol or paradox, it was hurting my head. It was so specific and yet it was so involved that I really did think, Rob, that I can't do this. That it is so involved. So because it's changing a whole way of being, isn't it? When you
It
do it,
is.
you're changing a whole way of being to
It
get
is.
help.
It is. And you know what? That's literally what we had to do. We had to change our entire diet, our entire lifestyle. Because you're not just nurturing a microbiome, you're healing it and rebuilding a gut at the same time. So it takes some commitment. It really does. But just, speaking to that, this Candida diet, I rejected it. I didn't do it because of exactly what you just said. It was unrealistic. I can't even get kale around here. You know, so I kind of ventured out on my own as far as diet goes, and you have to stay realistic, and like we talked about before, you have to sit at a level at the best you can do, and because we do live in a world where it's hard to get clean, good food, so we just started label reading. We didn't stop eating meat or we ate less meat and more vegetables. And like I said, once you change your microbiome, you will actually start craving vegetables. It actually becomes a taste. I didn't think I'd ever get to that point, but yeah, definitely stay realistic. Just because you can't do a specific diet doesn't mean you can't do it. You can create your own built on the same principles with the food that's available to you that you can get regularly. And honestly, I'm against temporary diets. I've seen too many people. I studied this diet for probably 2 years before I made the decision that I wasn't going to do it. And I've seen so many people, doing really good through the diet. They feel better. They lost weight. Everything changes. Then you talk to them a month later after they're done with the diet, and they're like, well, I got to start the diet again. I backslid. I'm not feeling that good, whatever. Just go ahead and change your eating lifestyle. I mean, if you just make it a goal to eat healthy.
And I believe that. I believe that. When I did keto, it wasn't to be keto for a month and then not keto later. It was to always keep those carbohydrates, because they're so chemically bound in corn and all that, out of my diet, because I just thought it was better and I felt better when I'm on that kind of diet. So I absolutely agree. I wonder, when you talked about eating meat, you talked about goat meat and you talked about chickens. Do you not eat cow? Or should I
No,
say, is that better?
we do eat a lot of beef. In fact, I have yet to this day eat a goat. I haven't haven't been able to butcher a goat and eat it. So we do eat primarily beef and chicken. My wife gets a half a beef. She works at a ranch. She gets a half a beef that is naturally raised, which is about the best we can find, and that's about it. And our own chicken, we won't eat anything. When we run out of our natural raised beef and have to go get beef from the store, I will gain 5 pounds overnight. I swear to God, every time we run out, and I believe it's because of the antibiotics.
Yeah.
Myself, I just recently had to go on antibiotics, and I gained a bunch of weight back. But I had an abscess tooth, so it was something you need to take antibiotics. I'm not against antibiotics, but you have to rebuild after that.
Right. And I think that that's the thing. Sometimes Western medicine, and I call it that because I think there's a whole bunch of stuff we do out there. So Western medicine leads us on a path that can completely destroy all those things that we need. And we'll get on one thing of antibiotics, and then we have to get on another thing. And it seems to be taking over, how we're doing things. I wonder if, I had to be placed on lots of antibiotics because I couldn't get rid of strep throat when I was in 6th and 7th grade. I just kept getting it over and over. And that's when I started struggling with a lot of things. And a lot of things with all the, autoimmune stuff was right around that time, right?
Yep.
So go ahead.
No, that's a chain reaction that you're speaking of. That's all too common, and that's something that we kind of learned. We kind of, through the process of learning all this stuff, and I'll say this right now before I forget: the information is out there. If all you can do is go to the CDC website or the FDA website and try and find information there, you're gonna miss the point, because I'd say it was less than truthful. That's what I'll say right now. But it's not common for kids to have strep throat all the time. It's not common for ear infections all the time. We put a child on antibiotics before their microbiome's even formed, which happens at about 2 years old. It starts to look more like an adult's microbiome, and it's like basically throwing gas over the whole population and lighting a match. You don't know what you're killing. I mean, sometimes they're gram-negative and gram-positive targeted, but that's still a pretty wide spectrum. You're looking at 85% of the species of bacteria are undiscovered. So we really don't know what the heck we're doing when it comes to throwing antibiotics at a microbiome. And then after that, of course, your immune system is compromised. And then you're more susceptible to strep throat, ear infections, stuff like that, because same thing as a competitive exclusion, you've caused a dysbiosis and it gives pathogens a foothold.
Right. Let me ask you something. I've heard a lot of different things on probiotics.
Mhm.
What do you think of those? And what are those? I mean, I know what they are, but what are those?
Well, it's basically a pill with species of bacteria in it. That's all it is. I think if they're your only source of symbiotic bacteria, definitely go for it. I do recommend they're not all created equal. You have to look at where your what your source is. But after saying that, it just simply does not compare to a piece of broccoli taken out of my garden out here that is completely organic. The species that I'm going to get from the piece of broccoli from my garden there's no way that they can match that in that pill. In fact, the probiotic pills are primarily lactobacillus and let me see if I hope I get this right, bifidobacterium, something like that. You're talking two species, which it may help you a little bit, but you're not quite getting that diversity that you would
Right.
get from a diet of whole foods.
So a lot of people are eating fermented foods with their food now.
The good reason being fermented food is basically you're allowing the bacteria to do what it would do anyway. And that's basically consume nutrients and put off byproducts. And being symbiotic with bacteria, as all life on this planet is, our nutrients need to be processed by bacteria. So the benefit of fermented foods is unlock nutrients, minerals and balanced minerals. It basically your benefit is what the bacteria can unlock while it's going through the process of feeding. The misconception is that fermented food is a good source of probiotics. There are probiotics in there. It's obviously a live food. However, the diversity by the time you consume it is basically none, because through fermentation, several species kind of take a process. Like one species will come in and consume this food and set it up for the next species to come in and consume it, and so on. And by the end of the chain, everything's pretty much played out, and it's not really a good source of probiotics. And again, not sure. Most fermented food, again, are lactobacillus and bifido, and yeast. Yeast does a lot of fermenting as well.
You know what, John? I would say that's true. I know you all are teasing, but it's very clear that you understand a lot of this, a lot more than I thought you did, because there's a lot of it I understand and then I don't understand. And so I appreciate you all just saying, and yes, kubachu cha, whatever, people are drinking that down by the handfuls. But I don't know. They're getting it in cans and bottles. I don't know if at that point it's really that good for you. I don't know.
Yeah, I think compared to a soda, it's healthier, but I can't drink it. We actually trade kombucha. I used to make kombucha. I think I found out that it gave me heartburn though, so I quit. And it was kind of a pain in the butt to make, so we just kind of quit making it. But we trade milk to a lady that has been a longtime customer, and she trades us for her kombucha, and she does second ferments, which means she kind of flavors it and stuff, and it's really good. But as far as health goes, you're still drinking a lot of caffeine. That's the only caffeine in the world that will keep me up all night is kombucha.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's
So let's say I make sauerkraut and I make it like they say with the vinegar and I put. Is that good for you? Is that something that's good to do?
yeah. Sauerkraut is one of the healthiest probiotic foods. Um, yeah, sauerkraut is a powerhouse. Yeah, you bet.
Because I've seen where they have they buy it all the time, right? People buy it in the store, but somebody was saying it's pretty darn easy to make. I just don't want to poison myself.
Most important thing is keep everything under the brine. Just everything's got to be under the brine. And if you see any mold, scrap the whole batch.
Okay, okay. So do you make your own sauerkraut?
No, I haven't yet. I've definitely read up on it a lot, and I'm in a lot of Facebook groups that do a lot of it. Mostly, I haven't ever grown cabbage, is why I haven't made it yet. I've
Okay.
only fermented stuff that I've grown, and you know what? We lose a lot from mold. If something floats up to the top and gets exposed to air, you'll get mold. So I haven't really perfected the fermenting yet. I'm definitely working on it because I do like fermented foods. They're pretty good and they're
Hmm.
preserved. Most of the time, it's a good way of preserving.
So if I wanted to buy it, is there anything I could do to kind of make sure that I'm buying the right kind?
Um, I always look at ingredients. Um, you have to kind of become one of those people that you see in the store that read the label. Um, and you also kind of got to be careful of marketing ploys. There's a lot of terms out there that are intentionally misleading. Um,
Right.
but definitely just read the sources, where it comes from, what they put in it, what they've done to it. I think if it's live, they have to say that it's live. See, I don't buy much sauerkraut either, so
Right. I gotta say, my friend does, my friend Janet, she's my best friend, and she's always trying to get me to do something, like different. And she's really into having fermented foods and things like that. And so I'm just like, how do you know this is good? I drive her crazy. How do you know? And she reads all that.
yeah. I'll tell you something, and this is what we live by. If we don't know where it comes from, we don't eat it. If we don't know what a chemical is in it, we don't eat it. Um, that's pretty much just a rule of thumb, and you got to be kind of strict on that. You know,
Right.
and it does help to go on the FDA website, and they do define a lot of the terms they use, and you'll find that a lot of the terms they use are very misleading, and it's actually something you're trying to avoid. That they changed the name of it, because they found out that too many people are trying to avoid it. Um, Definitely.
Saturday market that we have here. At least that would make me feel a little better. And I'll talk to everyone about it because I know you don't know unless you really look into it. Oh,
It,
Anthony is a carrier of the Black Plague. Well, darling, I could have told you that, but I didn't want to hurt your feelings. Go ahead, Rob.
it's amazing how misleading um, the food industry is. For example, the sugar industry has pumped so much money into the FDA to try and hide the fact, to try and hide how bad sugar is for you. And the whole play with the FDA, that they try and offset it like you can out exercise a bad diet, and it's just you know it's just not the truth. You have to realize that these agencies are mostly paid for. You know, um,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you got. I believe it's still Michael Taylor's the head of the FDA, and well, he's a Monsanto lobbyist. So I mean, take that for whatever you want, but
Right. I think that that's one of the things that it makes it really hard on people like me. You know, we don't have, a lot of us don't have huge incomes. Some of us that are in this drone family are unlimited, and just this is all you're going to get this month, and they're not allowed to make more. So when they go out and they're thinking organic, they're thinking, how do I do this? It can be extremely difficult for them to be able to do the things that they need to do. I just think that that's one of those things. And I'm always, you know, riding on the edge of how much stuff can I get accomplished. And then I have to go buy organic foods and stuff. But the farmer's market is probably my best bet for that. And it probably is for everyone else too.
it
You can find
is.
some
If
decent
if you
deals.
if you read labels, um, and just read the label, just read the ingredients, and you'll be surprised that there is good cheap food out there. But you do have to look. It's always the off-brand sitting next to the hot seller or something. And what I find at our grocery store a lot is you'll find something really good that doesn't have absorbic acid in it.
Right.
And you start buying it and they'll discontinue it. It happens every time. So, but
Yep.
we were always able to find something else. Spaghetti sauce is ridiculous. We had like one brand that we could buy and use, and they it just gets discontinued. It's so frustrating.
You know, I was trying to find, you know, I like making my own ketchup and stuff like that. And I was trying to find ones because I went and got organic from Costco and found it had sugar in it. And I thought, you know, and so then I tried to find ones that didn't. And those off no nothing brands are the ones that didn't have the sugar. And then I found one at Whole Foods, or maybe it's Boys Go Up. It was like $5 for this little thing because it had no sugar. And I thought to myself, so it costs more if they don't put stuff in it?
Isn't it ridiculous? Yes.
So QuadFarm, we're not going to end yet, but I just wanted to say, Rob, I am so happy you came on and put up, yeah, see, people are calling for that. And you came on and let me ask you all kinds of questions because I know it's difficult to talk science, which is basically what we're talking. Um,
Mhm.
and we're kind of droners, and you know, I cook and I do other stuff, and you know, you farm and you drone, and then to bring up the subject and have everyone really already knowing a lot of this, or at least parts of it, right?
Right.
But I can't drink kombucha, guys. I can't. I just can't. I can eat sauerkraut, but I can't drink kombucha. That's nothing I can do yet. We'll see. We'll see. So they love your shirt, and I'm going to kind of open it up so we can just talk to everyone. I haven't been ignoring anyone. I've been reading everyone's stuff. And guys, at times, hold on, I have to look at them. Guys, sometimes in chat, you're very bad. I just have to tell you. I've been reading your chat very bad.
I
Anyway,
haven't been reading. I'm gonna have to go back and read it.
don't read it. I don't know. We were talking about different kinds of milk, and I'm just like, what the world? What the world do you guys? Let me drink this real quick. Oh my God. Oh, Kim, I think you've been good. But RC and Mike, were you talking about drinking only breast milk? So you think I don't see this? I see these things. And Ray, somebody likes big rumps, and they weren't talking about rump roast, I don't think. Hey Thomas, how you doing, darling? Glad you made it in. Not you, Ray? I don't know. Oh, here comes sweetness. Here it comes. Yeah, you're an angel, Ray. Here comes sweetness. See, look at this. Oh, that's cute. That's just so cute. Rob, Mo would like to know what's better for you, raw food or cooked food?
Cooked. I would well, that's kind of a double-edged sword there. Like vegetables, we steam them to cook them less, but I mean, it's kind of a fact that we pretty much evolved to eat cooked food. So I think when you can eat raw vegetables, I would definitely go for it. But eating too much raw is definitely not great for us either.
I know, Mo. Little Valley's so cute. So cute. I love her. So anyway, see your little face? She's so cute. Oh my God. That is precious. I can see why you would raise goats. I don't know why I thought you ate your goats. I'm looking at them when you when they when Mama Goat had her baby goat, and I was just thinking to myself, oh my gosh, how could you ever eat one of these? I wouldn't be able to do it. I just want to
Yeah,
keep it.
we're actually having a hard time parting. We started to increase our. They're all dairy goats, and we were going to start hitting the farmers market harder. So we kind of increased our herd size, and then we kind of backed off on the farmers market idea, and now we're trying to decrease, and we're having a hard time because we're attached to all of them. We bottle feed all of them.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I could just imagine.
Yeah.
That is a cute, cute goat. What about goat cheese as opposed to cow cheese? When I
I,
was a baby, I couldn't have any kind of cow milk.
mhm,
Even when I was a little baby, they had to put me to goat milk. That's the only thing I could tolerate.
yeah.
So, what's the difference between the two?
Um, I'm definitely a goat milk fan. I don't want to bash the cow dairy industry, but it kind of comes down to fat globules. A cow really has the largest fat globules that we have available to us. That's why they homogenize it. They basically break them up. Um, a goat's fat globules are smaller and more digestible for us. Um, and I believe there's something to do with the casein. Uh,
Right,
I
because I know
still
which book is that one?
this is raising dairy goats.
Oh, nice. Okay. Because I've
And
heard casein is not very good for us, and I know when I was buying protein powder, if it had casein in it, it puts me to
mhm,
sleep.
yeah,
I drink it and I'm out. I just cannot stay awake.
if I have to, I won't look it up now. It'll take too long. But yeah, there's definite differences between. I, I don't want to misspeak on that, but there's something. I think if you're allergic to all dairy, you actually have an allergy to the protein. If you only have trouble with cow milk, then you're actually having problems with the fat globules. Like
Okay.
if you can't drink cow but you can drink goat, you're not allergic to the casein protein. But in your case, where you have issues with casein, you might have that protein allergy.
Yeah, it might be because I know that sometimes I will crave milk or want to drink tons of it, and that's when I know there's something off with me.
Huh.
Well, and no comments, guys, just because something's off with me. Okay, so Kim says I eat eggs and I get a bad tummy ache. So I do not know why that is, Kim, but I do know sometimes when you get on more natural and clean eating, that some allergies can go away.
Mhm.
Hey guys, thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. We have a lot of great channels. Right now I'm talking to QuadFarm. We're talking about the microbiome and everything else. And There we go. So.
Okay. Can you mute it? She actually found the page I was looking for.
Yeah.
The term. Oh yeah. Here we go.
Look at the baby coming. Okay.
All right. Put my glasses on for this.
Hi, Donnie Dave. Weave's World. Eyeline Bunny.
The term lactose intolerance has become a catchphrase for anybody who gets an upset stomach, gas, or other gastrointestinal discomfort after eating dairy products. Lactose intolerance is the body's inability to manufacture the enzymes that break down lactose, which is a natural occurring sugar in both cow and goat milk. The fact is, a true lactose intolerance is not common in the general population except in certain ethnic groups. However, milk protein allergies are becoming more and more common. The only way to know for sure is to be tested by a doctor. If the bubbles turn out to be from a lactose intolerance, take it easy on all milk, but if it's a protein allergy, give the goat milk a try. So I'm glad you found that because I was actually opposite.
Very nice. Thank you. That's very sweet. Hey, Dreaming Taurus, thank you very much for coming in. We're having kind of a raid right now. You guys don't forget to, QuadFarm, do you want to put some, go ahead and comment inside this thing so everyone can see you and see your channel? Just say hi. It's Weave's World, and he comes in and raids us. He raided us when Kelly was on Sunday. So if you can just say hi, there we go. So QuadFarm is the one who does quads, acro, and I'm interviewing him, and he does a lot of microbiome stuff, which is so totally interesting to me. I couldn't stand it. Guys, also, we got some more time to go, but I want to say next week is Crystal Justice. We got her on, and we're going to come and take care of everything, talk to her about all the different things that she's doing in her world and some of her projects and all this time consuming. So let me go and talk a little bit about the channels that we're doing. So Rob, where do you want to see your channel within the next couple of years? Where do you want it to go?
I definitely I want to start sliding more into tutorials. I don't know if combining FPV and farming is going to go, so we're going to see. But I definitely want to slide into tutorials. I always like to try and slide some educational stuff in. I haven't really pinpointed the place where I want to start, whether to start at basic goat stuff or to jump right into just everything and then assume that the person's going to be at that level when they see my video. I haven't really got the dynamics down yet, but I'm definitely going to start doing more tutorial stuff and microbiome stuff.
I know when they talk about, a lot of the channels have done really well going into a niche and staying within that niche. And certainly we're kind of drones, and I am basically, because I do have a drone, one that flies away and one that stays. And basically, I just like interviewing people who do drones and looking at all the aspects of their life. So I would not be able to advise you probably as well, but I do know I'm very interested in the micro stuff that you're doing and the goats and all of that. And I would watch it if it's on your drone channel or not. I guess that's one of the things. If you want to niche it down, just have FPV on one and then have another channel for the other. I mean, I'm gonna subscribe to both. That's just what I'm gonna do.
Cool.
But I don't know what that would look like for you. But I am so interested in this topic, and it's nice to know someone who's really involved in the topic and in and of itself. So it's Ed said, you have a lot of great knowledge, QuadFarm. Ready to watch. Have enjoyed the stream very much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, he's great, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I will wear goggles and gloves so she won't give me shingles. Okay, I don't know what that's about, but Crystal is not giving you any shingles, and I don't think you'd be close enough to worry about it.
That's awesome.
I say that. Was that a burn? That might have been a burn. Won't find any milk in this chat, Mike. Okay, I think I know what that means. So you behave yourself, Mike. So you still have doubts on that, Paul. Glad you cleared that up for me, Crystal. I'm not sure what that's about. No problem, Paul. See, Val, it was Mo. Oh my God. Oh my God. Me Too QuadFarm was great, and that was some interesting stuff. Okay, good, good. So I think that one thing we're finding that I found with this family, within the last, I've been really part of the family since probably before December, but really we kind of cemented everything as December and January as we move on. These guys have just varying amounts, but drones are what initially brought us together. I think that's what we can look at. Drones initially kind of brought us together, but all these guys are just, as you are, just they have vast interests, which I love. And I love baby goats. And I love little Val. She's so cute.
Here's a mama goat.
Oh, the mama there? Is she in the room?
She's thinking about it. Here she is.
Oh my gosh. Hey, girlie, you did a good job.
This is my favorite goat. This is Jinx.
Hi, Jinx. Now, this is the mama to little Val?
No, her babies are outside.
Oh, are her babies outside?
Yeah,
she had a big baby.
Yeah, she had babies 2 weeks ago.
Wow. She's up and running around. Very good.
Yeah. Love that goat. That goat is so cool.
I noticed that in a lot of your videos, you have your goats, and they are precious. And when you go up and you show them their little, they're so cute. They're so cute. Makes me think on some level I wouldn't mind having goats, but in my area, I'd probably get in trouble for doing that.
Yeah. They changed our lives. They're probably the neatest animal I've ever been blessed enough to. They're literally my friends.
Oh, they're beautiful animals. Hey, so our RC Fun would like to know, do goats really eat anything like aluminum cans?
I was actually going to do a vlog on this. No, they don't. That's a myth. They're actually very particular. What they may chew on things, and they're on a constant quest for minerals. They require like, I think, 2 less minerals than we do, like 64 minerals, I think, if I'm not, might be 67, 64 or 67. I'm bad at numbers. So they're constantly searching for minerals. And they may mouth things, but no, they don't eat it. Actually, when you introduce a new food to a goat, you have to do it in small increments. Like if I add a new type of grain, I would start one day with just a little bit, and then give them a little bit for a couple days, and that basically allows them to colonize the correct bacteria in the rumen. Oddly enough, a lot of my bacteria knowledge, or my microbiome knowledge, comes from learning about ruminants, and that's kind of one of the discrepancies I've seen. Is like, we've known that these animals are completely dependent on bacteria for hundreds of years, but somehow we've gotten to where nobody knows that about us. But we generally work the same.
So Kelly would like to know how many goats you have, Rob.
Probably, without counting, probably 25.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, we run a pretty much a full-size dairy. Well, it's a micro dairy by standards, but for us, it's a pretty big dairy.
Yeah, that would be a lot. To me,
Yeah.
that would be a lot of work.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have another question from Ray. He wants to know if a goat will look after another goat's babies.
Yeah, that is actually really common. Um, Sometimes they get rejected by their mother and they'll get put on another mother.
Oh,
Now with our dairy goats, they never have a kid suck from their udder. Um, we take the kids right at birth and bottle feed them and milk the mom. We milk the mom and then bottle feed the milk to the baby. So with a dairy mom, probably not. But with you know, we call them dam raised kids. Dam being the mother. Um, if you have a mother that raises kids before has raised kids before, they probably would. But with our
wow.
dairy goats, it'd be. I think even if their kids tried to drink off them now, they would get kicked.
Night, Louise. I appreciate it. He wants you to know he had a good time. Nice dream. Thank
Sweet.
you.
I'm trying not to be too boring or. It's
I
really
did.
hard to talk about this stuff.
I didn't find any of it boring, but that's me. I love this stuff. I really do. Hey, Alvin, how you doing? Yeah, I just thought this was absolutely great. Let me see. Something about question 2. My father-in-law has chickens that were losing feathers from fighting in Rooster Mountain.
Yes.
John, we heard pine oil is good for that. Any thought?
I've never heard of that. And you know what? Actually, I got the book sitting right here, Raising Chickens, because
Oh,
that's
you do.
happening to my chickens right now, and I'm I'm starting to research that myself.
Okay, so I think what's this, John? What's that? Feathers and chickens and rooster mountings. Yeah, you dumb roosters. Okay, so John and QuadFarm, I know you guys are going to talk more about this probably if you research it and you find the answer. Not Alvin, it is sin now. Laugh my. I'm so confused, you guys. What? No, that's Alvin for sure. Okay, okay. So, let me go on and see if there are any other questions that I didn't pick up on. If I did miss one, guys, feel free to re-put it down again, because it's really hard keeping up with all the different things. And let's see. So, do you have to? Oh, no, it's Mike. He just ate KFC. I'm just going to tell you, I used to love KFC, but I can't eat it.
That's good. This stuff's nasty.
Yeah, absolutely. Go to QuadFarm's channel for that answer, John, when he finds out. That's absolutely true. Um, let's see, Ray Smith. Well, yeah, KFC is free. But when I was young, I did. Are you sure, Alvin? Oh, okay. I have to not read some stuff, I think. Ray, what are you doing, darling? Okay, too much grease. There is a lot of grease. Heart attack in a bucket. So what do you think of fat, Rob? Eating stuff that has fat.
That's good. We actually, I can't remember whether it was in a livestock course or I think it was in a course from University of Denmark. Um, I just can't remember which course, but yeah, it's basically we know that we have to have fat, animal fat specifically. And now getting into the specifics, I'm not going to be able to help much except do a really bad job of explaining it. But we actually need animal fat to build nerve cells. There's something in specifically in animal fat that we need to build nerve cells. So I think fat is good. I think low fat makes you fat. I was going to point out to you too, Val, that your microbiome is actually responsible for regulating insulin and dealing with sugars.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get working on it because I know there's a problem. It's like an addiction, like any other thing, right? And you
Oh
can't
yeah.
walk away from some things. And you know, I love vegetables and I love, you know, more of the animal fat and stuff like that. And I love butter. And I don't like oils, a lot of oils, but coconut oil I'm okay with. And I think olive oil I'm okay with. So there's
Stay
some,
away. Yeah, stay away from vegetable oil.
right. Something
Yeah.
about it just doesn't. Okay. Sin would like to know, Sinister. Yeah. What are trans fats?
You know what? I read that I've known that, and that's actually. I'll just have to say I don't know. I couldn't. I could go get my notebook and I got it in my notes, but I couldn't answer specifically what trans fats are.
You know, what I know about trans fats are, you know, saturated fats are usually animal fats and they're fine. And there's different ones like that come from butter and they're fine. And then there's olive and coconut oil and stuff, and they're supposed to be okay. One lower heat, one at higher heat. But trans fats, from what I understand, are not real. They're not based in real. So
Okay.
the things that I think are they the ones that we stick air in, like hydrogenated? Is that what they are? Who knows? Let me look down. Fake fats are trans fats. So Ed, you're the one saying that. So they're the ones that we puff air in and make hydrogenated junk. Oh, and I'll wait for Ed to come back. John would
Yeah.
like to know if you eat your chickens.
We do. We actually stopped eating chicken. We didn't eat chicken. We used to eat a lot of chicken, and then we stopped, and we didn't eat chicken for probably 8 years before I actually got some meat birds and harvested them. And then right now we got like 90 chickens. We have way too many chickens, so we're gonna have yes, we're gonna pick a day and process chickens. Yeah.
Yep, yep. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Weggy says it's engineered like margarine. So,
Okay.
you know, saying fake fats and Weggy's coming back and saying yes, it's engineered like margarine. You know, I remember when my ex-father-in-law died. I was just a kid. I was like 16 as 4 he was my father-in-law, and he died at 44. And the diet they had put him on because they knew he was having heart attacks was wheat bread with margarine and that kind of, you know, that whole thing that
Wow.
they did a lot of, and he did die. And I just, you know, it's like we don't always know, you
Right.
know, the government was saying this is the best thing and it was the worst thing. Hey, Crystal said, gotta run guys off to work. Crystal, you take care. Yeah, she has that night job. She's just always going. Um, let's see. Margarine, anything fatty that doesn't melt at room temperature clogs up your plumbing. Okay. Okay,
I,
that's from Ed.
I go by the rule of like it does matter. Kind of back to the source of your food stuff. Like absorbic acid is a good example. Like they want you to believe that that's vitamin C, you know, and
Right.
everybody's kind of misconception is that wow, it's extracted from fruit. It's not, and that does really make a difference. Like you just can't stress it enough. The materials that you supply your body are literally what it builds your cells out of. It builds everything. We didn't evolve to eat, I guess, trans fats and stuff like that. So our body just really has a hard time dealing with that kind of stuff. If it's literally nature got it right.
Right.
You know, we've only been doing this for not very long compared to evolution, you know.
Right. And, you know, I find, Rob, there's so much information out there. It's really, really hard to know. There's a baby goat. He's still there?
Yeah, she's asleep.
Yeah, he's a sweet thing. So I think it's, yeah, it's hard to know. Vitamin C in all sorts of food, not just fruit. You know, I was gonna, Paul, the one thing I noticed is my calves started going into cramps again a lot because my diabetes was going back up high, and I was drinking too much and it was flushing the potassium. And someone said, you know, you can eat bananas, and me, I really can't. It just leads me to this cycle of lots of sugar. But broccoli has a lot of potassium and vitamin C. So I just steamed that and I just started eating it, and my body was like, "Oh, this is perfect thing. Perfect thing." I love broccoli. Don't tell me broccoli is bad, because I would be really sad. All sorts of food, not just fruit. That's just so true. Hey, listen, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to close this out. I was told by Kelly, I'm not sure, but I believe she's going on at 9:30. And so if you guys want to go check Kelly Polson out, 9:30 tomorrow morning, Canadian Drone Network, which is where I met Rob, because I met a lot of you guys over there, and Rob was one of them. And Rob, I just can't tell you how much fun I've had. And oh, okay, hold on. Earl now has a question. Oh, Ray, Val, you should be able to eat half a banana. Yeah, Ray, I know. But you know what? If I open a banana, I'm eating that whole thing. That's the problem. Question for Quad. Does he pasteurize his milk, or does he make his milk pure? Or does he have goat milk that doesn't require pasteurization?
Um, I, what would I just there's I definitely drink raw milk. My goats produce raw milk, and we drink it that way. We don't pasteurize it. We just filter it and chill it, and that's how we drink it. Now, homogenization you're talking about, and that's the fact. If you were talking about homogenization, yeah. Anyway, that has to do with fat globules, and goats are kind of naturally homogenized. They're smaller, so definitely raw milk. If I had to pasteurize the milk that I drank, I wouldn't drink milk.
Yeah.
It would be pointless.
And Ray says he's never heard of goat milk. You know what? I did, because my parents used to call me their little goat, because that's what I had to drink, and they said I smelled like a little goat. So I don't know if there's truth to that.
That bothered me. Goat milk shouldn't taste much different than cow's milk. It's sweeter and creamier. If you have a flavor, then you got a dirty jar, or it had been, like, for instance, if you have a male buck, or if you have a male goat around your does, the pheromones from that male buck will taint the milk from that doe, and you'll have a flavor. And a lot of people have had goat milk and they don't like it. But if you handle your milk right and your animals are all good, it's a very sweet, very creamy. It's a very good food.
So can you put cream into your coffee from goats? Is it the same type deal?
Yeah, that's all we use. Put goat milk in our coffee. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, Earl, our Earl RC, Alvin, yeah, yeah. Anyway, he's not doing cow milk. He just does goat. And I know you're late, but that's okay. So tomorrow, I was saying, Canadian Drone Network, they have a great stream. I always do my coffee in the morning with Roger, and then Kim lopes in at some time when he's not fighting with drones. I'm just saying. And then Monday night is Off the Wall with MD 95. And then Tuesday morning, again, Canadian Drone Network. And Tuesday at 4 o'clock, 4 to 5, I come on. And then at 8 o'clock, and we're talking, okay, mine was regular time, but it's, okay, 4, I'm on 6 to 7 Eastern time. And then Sinister Dad and Earl RC come on at 8. So you want to have a look at that and talk to them. I think it's going to be great. And I'm hoping to have someone come on with me on Tuesday just for that quick hour-long talk. So, oh. Oh.
What was that?
That was my light. Do I look dark now? I'm trying to tan up a little bit. Oh, thanks. Oh, that was crazy. My dog did more on, yeah, thank you, Kevin. I must have, Kevin's here in the background here. There we go. Is that, okay. That was crazy, wasn't it? I don't know what the world did. So guys, all the shows, it's always a week long, and all the shows are really great. So we just want to keep everybody entertained. Hey, Kelly, thank you so much. Can you go through that again, Val? Oh my gosh, you're so crazy. So tomorrow morning, Canadian Drone Network. Tomorrow evening, MD 95 TSI. He's going to be on with Off the Wall Drones. Tuesday morning, Canadian Drone Network. Whoop! And then Tuesday at 6 Eastern time, I'll be on for an hour. And then at 8 o'clock Eastern time, we got Sinister Dad and Earl Alvin. So guys, I love you guys. Rob, you are too sweet to do this. I so appreciate it. Thank you so much. And guys, everybody say goodnight to Rob. I'm going to say goodnight and Rob stay on for just a minute because I'm going to go ahead and end the stream so you guys can do the Walton thing. I'm Holy Goat Val. You're worse than Kim. How did I become worse than? Oh, but Kim's not worse, right? We'll just be nice. Oh, so you want to go now? Well, you know where to go, right? Okay, love you guys. You know it. Okay, I'll see you on.